over 2 decades of experience at WPP Media, Amin Lakhani has seen the evolution of media and marketing firsthand. In this exclusive conversation with him today, we will speak more about this along with the new developments at WPP Media, AI, creativity and the future of marketing. On that note, a very warm welcome, Mr. Lakhani.
Thank you so much, Samir.
So nice to have you on our platform today.
Equally, the pleasure is mine. Thank you so much.
So diving into the questions, sir, we know that the transition of Group M to WPP Media has been more than a rebranding exercise. Could you share more details about it, or what really prompted this move, whether in terms of the market realities or the consumer needs?
So the idea was to really simplify ourselves, to break all the silos and, bring the expertise to solve for the clients. So what we've actually moved into is basically a simple structure that solves for client. It is built around client centricity, right? Upon clients' needs, and the beauty of this entire structure is that it's powered by our unified operating system, WPP Open, that kind of stitches the entire workflow. Brings teams together, cross-functional teams together in a manner that we had not imagined it earlier. And also it kind of simplifies ways of working such that we can remove the drudgery and focus on solving for higher order needs of the clients.
Sure. Could you zoom into this a little bit more? So we understand that the global leadership team has also extensively spoken about creating a more simpler and integrated organization. How does that really translate into the daily operations or client deliveries for WPP Media in South Asia?
So for example, if you look at it, there are specialist teams, whether it is choreographed with the data, the analytics, the consulting arm that we have, or the strategy team which focuses on business and clients, business challenges, and the client leadership teams which actually bring and stitch up the entire ecosystem or the solution framework together. Now, in a siloed work environment, all these would run as different departments, and they would need to be accessed, to be called. Each one of them would have access to the client's objectives and information of a very different order or magnitude.
Sure.
What WPP Open does is that it democratizes the entire brief to solution infrastructure in one place. So there's a very beautiful workflow that brings all these teams together. Everybody in the team has the same level of information, is aligned or is aware of the challenges that the client is facing, and therefore they come together with equal amount of information without wasting time, money, energy, drudgery, So I think that's at first. Having said that, everybody is also working on the client, also has the access to the solution framework, the measurement framework, and therefore they can see did the strategy actually land into client's business outcome.
Sure.
And then loop that back into the thinking about how do we move on from here, and what are the things that we solved for, what worked, what didn't work, and therefore what do you do to solve the next level of challenges that the client has really thrown at us.
Sure. So, sir, we are aware that WPP's Vision 2030 puts in a greater focus on innovation, agility, and client outcomes, as you also just mentioned. Since you have been in the industry for so long, what sort of an evolution have you seen in terms of the client expectations, say now versus 5 years back?
So, if you look at pre-COVID levels, right? If you look at pre-COVID levels and what we are seeing specifically from an India, South Asia perspective, the organic growth is very, very hard to come by.
Okay.
Right. India has been a very high growth market. We've been in a very high growth environment, and the evolution of both the clients as well as the agency ecosystem has seen a far higher organic growth pre-COVID.
Sure.
Post-COVID, you see, and this is just a reference point to say that organic growth is very, very hard to come by.
Okay.
Right. And what it has done in the client ecosystem is that it has pivoted or shifted the focus on driving immediate results or immediate measures to drive short-term sales or short-term outcomes, in a way. In this context, our advice to our clients is very simple, that continue to focus on, the full funnel approach rather than only the bottom funnel approach. Because if you don't have an upper funnel, then there won't be a funnel for you to reap into tomorrow, right? So I think it's a very balanced approach. What we've also seen is that clients who really deploy full funnel tend to win over a longer period of time, right, in a sustained manner. Having said that, what we've also looked at is, at the heart of all of this is our consumer, right? And therefore, what is the entire evolution the post-COVID world has had on the consumer journey? Right? More time on digital, more number of platforms, access to better quality of data, cheap data continues to be driving internet penetration, right? And in all of this, the entire content consumption, the entire content drive is at a massive scale. So that's one area. The other area is that if you look at the consumer journey, the evolution of e-commerce in India is unprecedented, right? You see the innovation of quick commerce in India that you don't see elsewhere globally, right? And that has massive impact on the way monthly baskets are built, the way consumers have been building their household baskets, the way they've been buying, and it has also instigated or in a way pushed the classical retailer to also evolve, to also become far more digitally agile, right? And I think there is a evolution on the digital front across the board. So what we've had to do is to really collapse what we were doing, because we understood that what we were doing up until COVID or thereabouts is not going to take us into the future.
Sure.
I think WPP Media is in a manner our attempt to resetting, our attempt to reimagining a future agency of the future model, right, going forward.
Sure. So we are well aware that there is this interesting strategic shift happening within the agency where you are moving from demographic segmentation to more audience states, as we all know. Could you help us understand that more and what really prompted this evolution, so to say?
So basically it is the way availability of data has got unlocked in our country, right?
Yes.
So for example, still 80-85% of media deployment in our country is, if you look at it, it gets deployed on large platforms which are wall gardens.
Yes.
Right? To drive upper funnel thinking or to drive performance marketing in a way, you're very, very much dependent on the cohorts and the data unlock that the platforms are offering to you. Now, despite a lot of efforts, what you know is that it continues to remain like a black box in many ways.
Yeah.
Right? However, the entire unlock of retail media in India, the availability of transacting audiences, the availability of deterministic signals in many other forms, and our focus on trying to really work through use cases around these has led us to this very interesting view of helping our clients build their data stack.
Yeah.
So where we are different is that we believe at WPP, we believe that the client should own their data and their infrastructure. What WPP Media or WPP in general will do is to help the clients on the back of their AI capabilities to really leverage this data better to driving better business outcomes.
Sure.
This is as against some of the partners or some of the companies which are focusing on building their very proprietary data stacks, which means in a way that there are wall gardens and then you're building one more wall garden, and in a way, ensuring that the client is either trapped in your wall garden or the platform wall garden, right? And in that place, I'm very excited that what WPP is trying to do is to really create an open and agnostic tech stack as far as data is concerned. Right?
Okay.
So, and then there are some wonderful, bespoke category-led solutions that we are building. We build something for, we are almost building something for auto in general. We're going ahead and building something for apparel as an industry.
Okay.
right? And next in line would be around beauty and some of the other CPG use cases that we build.
So, I mean, I know that you're a big believer of how creativity and data can co-author solutions. Could you give us some ways how brands can, bring in better synergies between the two?
In my mind, data and creativity have never been distinct, right? They've all been part of the same solution, right?
Yeah.
The best creative narratives, the best advertising, the best storytelling has always hinged on the most beautiful insight that has powered that storytelling, right? So I believe that for the storytelling, for creativity to really become cutting edge or cut through or relevant, the richness of the insight, and that can only happen through data.
Yeah.
And I believe that therefore data and creativity go hand in hand to unlock far more compelling advertising narratives. That has been in the past, it is what we are seeing today, and I believe that is going to continue in the future as well.
And on the same lines, where does India really stand on the global WPP map when we talk about data, or any interesting insights that you've gathered about the Indian audience or market that you would want to share with our viewers today?
We're talking about 800 plus million internet users, right? I mean, 800, 850, depending upon what data source that you're seeing. From a deterministic signal perspective, today we are sitting on, WPP has access to over 500 million data signals of unique 500 million audiences that you can talk to based on very rich deterministic signals that we can deploy, which are ready to be deployed and which we are deploying for our clients. So I think in that sense the scale in India is massive, right? From a global perspective, obviously India is a very high growth market, continues to be relatively high growth.
How much does it really contribute to the overall numbers?
Today I think we are number 4, if not lower in the world pecking order from whatever I remember last, right? And therefore there's very high visibility and attention to what we are doing in India from a global perspective, right? And it's been, and India has been a relatively high growth market for years together right now, especially in WPP, right? And the most fascinating part is the demography that we are working with, the size of not just the economy but also the audience size that we deal with, and the complexity of states, of languages, the way in which people consume media, and multiple other factors. Really that creates an excitement and intrigue whenever we are talking to our regional and the global folks.
Sure.
Because every time that we are meeting them, there is a new dynamic which is either we've leapfrogged in some essence, or we continue to defy global norms in many ways, right? For example, India is one of the very few markets where print media continues to grow, and it's always a part of the conversation that are you really reading this right? Is really print growing? So on and so forth. Versus we've been a mobile first market in many ways. The data consumption is one of the highest per capita data consumption globally, and therefore that really creates a lot of intrigue. As I mentioned earlier, the quick commerce evolution in the country is fascinating to people. Like people sitting in London, US really get fascinated that how is a 10+ minute delivery possible, right, in a country as chaotic as what we are.
Okay, so I mean, you mentioned in one of your answers how WPP Open is positioned as a key pillar of WPP's AI strategy overall. From a macro perspective, where is India really positioned when it comes to AI adoption curve, number one, and how do products like WPP Open really contribute to making better decisions for the clients for you?
So from a product AI product perspective, I think we moved on from the hype cycle that a new age tech always comes through, and we moved into a phase what we would like to call the application phase, right?
Yeah.
So we've started moving into that direction. Today, if you see roughly 300-400 of our top tier team members have already started using and adopting the highest level of training as far as AI is concerned, and they've started to deploy this entire context for our clients. Simultaneously, we are really bullish about the entire AI agentic ecosystem that we are building. Currently on the WPP open platform, we have more than 150 active AI agents which are helping our teams to really, reduce the drudgery of a lot of implementation workflows, and really helping them free up their time such that they can concentrate on solving for the higher order needs of clients.
Sure.
And trying to drive a strategic conversations with the clients. So I think in many ways we've started to see green shoots, and in some cases really some good solid use cases around the media workflows, around driving creatives at scale, at a very tighter turnaround time, at a far reduced cost in that sense. So I think the early use cases are very, very interesting, and all of them are showing that how we could really create a bespoke client first solve going forward.
Sure. With this, I mean, we also know that there are these new terms emerging like AI experience designers or even behavioral strategists. I would want to now come on to the talent part of the business. How do you think the future talent blueprint of WPP Media looks like for you?
So we've already been in that journey, Soumya, from the time that we started almost like a year ago.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned earlier, that the entire talent skill map has completely transformed. So today we are seeing that in our typical client teams, we are trying to get AI forward media planners to begin with. Then there are data scientists, which has become a very, very important pillar.
Yes.
Right. We are seeing increased amount of tech people joining our teams, because at some end or the other, there is this requirement of how you imbibe tech and you leverage tech to solve for things that we have not seen that happening before. In stitching up workflows which are custom for our clients, we really need to leverage the tech side of unlock, which is happening, right? At the same point in time, the principles of media planning don't change, right? The principles of how consumers thinking works, how to beat fragmentation, and some of those principles that have been, there for eons will continue to, work in the future as well. And therefore, what we really need is that, yes, we need to diversify our skill sets at one end, and the other end, we really need to have a very massive upskilling program.
Okay.
And we've kind of made a very robust plan with the scale and the size that WPP Media has in India.
Okay.
I think it's one of the programs that I think it's industry beating. There's massive investment in talent development, and it's a robust program which is one of its kind, that is really helping our people to really not only play a catch up, but be ahead of the curve relatively from an industry perspective.
Okay, fair enough. So, I mean, WPP Media projected about 2 lakh crore rupees of, advertising. It was projected to be this much this year. What do you think are the driving factors to bring about this number this year?
So, 2-3 things that come up, right? Content-led brand spends.
Yes.
Right. Is one bucket that we see will continue to grow and drive the AdX growth significantly. Commerce, as I mentioned, is a significant driver of incremental growth that will come through in this particular year. Then we are seeing this entire emergence of new practices, which is influencer marketing, and gaming will also unlock some of these incrementality, right? And digital, of course, will be the driving factor, driven by retail media that I mentioned earlier as well. So I think these are some of the areas where we are very, very bullish, and we are seeing that the incremental spends are coming through that.
Okay.
Right. And what we are trying to do is to make sure that, you know, all of these things, how do they drive business for our clients? I think that's the single largest question from our restructuring to our media deployment. If there's one thing that we are focused on, is that what is our effort that is leading to a solution for a client that is helping them win in the market?
Okay. So coming down to my last question for the day, what does success really look like for WPP Media in the next 3 years, according to you?
Well, success looks like when we help our clients win better than their fair share. I think that is what success looks like for somebody who's born and brought up on winning on clients, you know, who lives and breathes client solutions day in and day out. So I would want each and every part or each and every client of mine to win higher than fair share going forward.
Okay, well taken. Thank you so much, Amin, for taking out time on a weekday. I appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thank you so
Lovely
much.
pleasure.
I'm very sure the audiences will have a lot of takeaways from this
Really?
conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you.